And good morning. It's the final day of June. Today is June 30th, and it's 6:30. Good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. How do you feel today? We're sitting right. We'll go over that coming up at 7 o'clock. We've got headlines that are shaping America in a few moments. What happened here in America over the weekend? We'll tell you all of those stories next as we begin this day. Let's head out to Collinsville now to the First Baptist.
Hey, look, we all have a past. Failures, sins, regrets, but also victories, goodnesses, thanksgivings. But Paul reminds us in Philippians 3 that the Christian life is not about being stuck in what was. Now, although Paul had many good things on his resume, mixed with some really bad things, like persecuting the church, for instance, he refused to let either define him. Instead, he says, one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead, the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. So the key is in the direction of our pursuit, not perfect performance, but persistent progress forward in Christ. Now, God hasn't called us to live anchored to our past, but to press on toward His purposes. Whether that past is filled with shame or even success, it cannot hold you when your eyes are fixed on Jesus. So let go of what God's forgiven. Release what God has redeemed. Leave behind yesterday's victories. You have more to come in a future with Christ, fueled by His grace that is not limited by your past. So beloved, press on. You haven't arrived yet. Christ Jesus has laid hold of you and made you His own so that you'll have a future greater than your past. So keep your eyes on the prize of becoming all He's called you to be. Never let your history hinder your destiny because Christ has given you a future. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Hope you enjoyed that. Always a good time there. I wanted to bring this up if you're in the area of Union, Mississippi this morning. Highway 492 partially blocked this morning due to a power line. They have one lane of travel there, so they're working on that. So eastbound lane currently passable as you're having to share one lane going in there. Be careful. That's the intersection of Industrial Circle. Be careful in Union. Keep that in mind. I think they've got volunteer fire department on the scene. Also police there directing so everybody can see that in this darkness there. One of the things that is happening early today. Plus at 7, we'll tell you about the car chase, a burglary that happened in Newton County early this morning. Woof! All the way through the streets of Meridain. We'll tell you about that coming up at 7. Also, Katina joining us all the way from Lauderdale. Good morning. Big thank you to all of our listeners joining us from WMOX Radio as well this morning. So good to have y'all with us. Shirley, how are you doing? I see Gail is up, Miss Diane and Lamar joining us, Kemper County there. Capitol Police yesterday made an arrest as someone disrupted the Senate debate as they were preparing as this vote goes on the big beautiful bill. Is that the name for it? I'm unsure. I just totally don't know enough about it. But we did have one that tried to interrupt it. He's been taken into custody now. We brought this up. This happened early Thursday morning. A suspect is now in custody. I don't have the name, but 2 Milwaukee police officers were shot as they were lured into an alley and they were shot. That person has been taken into custody. What makes you want to do that? We'll tell you more about another story that follows the same line here in just a moment. Pride Month has been going on in New York. 2 teens were shot late yesterday, 116, 117. I think they were both females. Tragic that is. Tornadoes. I think the South knows them probably more than anywhere. We go to Florida for this next headline this morning. As we often tell you, get to your safe space. It was a 76-year-old in her home when a tornado struck. She's okay. It was an F1 that hit her home. It picked it up and slammed it back down. She's going to be okay. Terrifying. Home destroyed. But she still has her life. Watch those tornadoes. This just seems like the never-ending, and maybe this is it. Seems every time I say that it's over, something else sparks from it. As we go to Alec Baldwin's Tobacco, that movie, was it Rust was the name of it? They have settled a lawsuit against the film producers and him in the fatal shooting. It's been one lawsuit after another, after another, after another. Maybe this is the end of it, but the civil lawsuit portion has been settled. That It's just tragic. There's no way to make that sound good in any way. I've never watched the movie. I think it's out. My, oh my. Let's talk about Canada a minute. They were going to be, is the word cocky? As they said they were going to put a new tariff on the United States, on our software and computers and things of that. Trump ended all talks with them, cut them off, said we wouldn't deal with them anymore. They've now released a statement that they're not going to do that. They've rescinded that on all our digital products. They're cocky, that's for sure, and I don't think they can win on this one. Things are starting to take shape in all these tariff wars that I think we were all kind of scared over, but it's looking good. It's going to save Americans a lot of money and then make the U.S. and save the taxpayer. It'll make the U.S. money and therefore helping the taxpayer. That's good. Now, this is the part, as I mentioned, where the guy was arrested yesterday. I don't know everything that maybe I should know of this, of the deficit of what we owe. Somewhere close to $40 million at this point. As this new bill comes about that they're voting on, it is very likely that it'll be voted on by Wednesday of this week. Will it pass? It looks as though the deficit will go up with it. Is there things in it that I don't know? Most likely. Medicaid is a part of this as I read this, and I don't really trust Lindsey Graham at all. He's on whichever side of the fence that makes him look good. But he says he's pushing for it because if you get Medicaid and you're getting money, that, well, if you're able-bodied, you should go to work. Apparently there's some things in there. They haven't really explained this, and there's a lot I don't know. But it will go up, the deficit. We'll see what this does, and I think they're trying to say by borrowing more, in the long run, it'll make money. We'll see. Again, that's probably going to be voted on Wednesday. Do you remember the young lady we talked about? I believe it was in Florida, if I am not mistaken. New Jersey is where it was. Where she was the lifeguard, and the wind came up, caught the umbrella, I know those, and it impaled her. She is recovering, and quite well. They say she is tough. She remained conscious all during that adventure. Man, that's got to be bad. I don't know why you would word it this way, but we had someone bit on a New York beach by a shark. The writers of the story are trying to say that it was a young shark that did it. Yeah, that really makes a difference, doesn't it? We had over 400 flights canceled in Atlanta over the weekend due to severe weather. Things are getting back to normal, but boy, that slowed things down. Atlanta, a huge airport. I often see this in other areas. Here's one of the headlines that we watched today. Detroit is where we go. A federal lawsuit has been filed against NFL coach Jim Harbaugh. The University of Michigan is where all this is. An assistant hacked into students' accounts. And apparently what was a bid to gain access to see pictures that were, I guess the best way to word this, were private pictures and emails. They're bringing the head coach into this because they said he was aware of it and done nothing. They're after, the University of Michigan is who they're after. Your credit scores. Often Americans have to borrow a little bit from a loan company. Buy here, pay later, by the week. Looks as though those are going to start affecting credit scores pretty soon. In the past, they have not been reporting to the credit score where you go to buy a home or whatever. But things seem to be changing on that, and those scores will be reported. Could hurt some people. If you're late on making that payment each week, it'll hurt you. Arkansas always stays busy there. Governor Huckabee, they passed not long ago a law where you had to be a certain age to have social media accounts. Content that is given to younger people. Tech giants are suing Arkansas over this. Where will they go? We don't know. Will they win? We shall see. I still say with that it's up to a parent to be a parent. And I know you're saying there are some out there who aren't parents, and I'm well aware of that. We just often have too much government control. My 2 cents, I may be wrong. Over the weekend, final respects were shown for the Minnesota lawmaker and her husband who were murdered. Her body and her husband laid in state in the capital there in Minnesota. Sad, sad day that she lost her life needlessly. That was not in any shape, form good. Horrible, horrible, horrible. The governor was there. Dave Parker, do y'all remember him? The Hall of Famer, played for the Pirates. He's passed away at the age of 74 over the weekend. A lot of you love sports and will know exactly who I'm talking about. Cape Canaveral, Coast Guard had rescued 4 people this weekend. They're going to be okay, but they had to be rescued. And other stories, this is a lot of money. I don't know if you'll remember it. It was 1992, and the best I can describe it, it was like a blue, looked like flowers on it. Princess Diana, the dress she wore. What do they call this thing? They're calling it the caring dress. It sold for over $500,000 at auction. Wow. I guess anything of Lady Diana's sells for a pretty penny, but that is a lot there for a dress, $500,000. Nestle, well, familiar with that, says it will remove artificial dyes from U.S. foods by 2026, so another year before it goes away. This can't help but be good for us. Also, in the same note, Smuckers, J.M. Smuckers, they're also going to remove artificial colors, but it will be 27 before that happens. You've got a little bit of time that they're giving these companies to remove this stuff. Heat, and we're going to have some strong heat over the next few days here through Mississippi, up to South Carolina, the Carolina coastline there. We had a youth sports ball umpire, 61 years old, had a heat stroke and passed away from his injuries. Y'all be careful out there. We're headed into the 4th. It's coming this week. I don't know if you remember this guy. I had forgotten his name. It's been so long. We're working on year 5 of this. Kenneth Chesebro. He was an attorney for Trump during the 2020 election. He represented Trump. He's been disbarred now in New York because they say he interfered with elections. Okay? I can only... At what age... I'm trying to get my thoughts on how to word this. Is there an age to where a child becomes influenced and becomes bad? Or are you born that way? I would think not. God wouldn't do that. But a group of 5th graders in Arizona have been arrested. Now, 5th graders, because they were overheard in a bathroom plotting to kill another 5th grader. Can you imagine? I can't even wrap my head around that. California, Gavin Newsom, you know who I'm talking about, the governor there, he is attempting to sue Fox News now for $787 million. Jesse Waters is why he's upset. Says that Jesse didn't tell the truth about a phone call that was allegedly made between he and Trump. $787 million. Woo! Well, this has got the world stirred up as the Supreme Court seems to back Trump on birthright citizenship. This, we've got bad people across the world. We all know that. Cyber people that try to attack. We've seen cities lose their computers and ransom comes up. They've been targeting North American Airlines, trying to hack into that system. Airplanes being hacked into really bothers me. Hopefully they'll be brought to custody and all this will be taken care of pretty quickly there. The University of Virginia has resigned. Trump's made it pretty hard on him. He has resigned over all the diversity and everything going on there at the university. Denver, Colorado. I've heard it pronounced Colorado. I've heard it pronounced Colorado. However you pronounce it. The zoo had to close early. Why? Group of teens were planning to take over the zoo in protest. They closed early to avoid that. Senator Thom Tillis, GOP, will not seek re-election. We'll see who runs in that slot. And Tuesday, it should be opening. This is one of the first, kind of like a modern day Alcatraz, I guess you could say, as they're calling it, alligator Alcatraz. It will officially open Tuesday. Trump is expected to make a visit. Most likely won't be many people wanting to go off into those waters, will it? That's what we're expecting there. Environmental groups, well, they filed a lawsuit. This is no shock, to try to stop the migrant detention center in Florida. We would expect nothing less from them, would we? That's happening there. Let's see here. And I see this is probably planned. I could be wrong. Trump, Musk, they got to get mad at each other because, well, stocks went down on those cars. You got to make it look like he walked away and dusted himself off. That's my 2 cents. I could be wrong, but well, y'all do the math on that. Sometimes a little smoke and mirrors there. Horror happened yesterday in Idaho. Are you aware of this? A fire was called in. Firefighters rushed to the scene, and 2 firefighters were shot immediately by a sniper. It was a setup. As he fired upon it, other people were also wounded. As the authorities moved in with drones at dark, they did find a suspect that was deceased by self-infliction. They assumed that it was a lone gunman at this point. Canfield Mountain. My, oh my. Amy Coney Barrett. A little bit more on Trump's side these days. It seems as though she was going to vote against him. But she's done okay on that. Let's see. This guy that is running, and we'll close with this to go to weather. This guy that is running for mayor of New York. Extremely liberal. I don't keep up with liberal causes a whole lot. I believe in right and wrong, and he is saying that Zoran, and I'm not going to pronounce his name correctly. We'll just get there pretty close to it. His name is Zoran Mohamna, maybe? Mamadandi? I don't know. I can't pronounce it. Got too many letters, and they didn't teach me that at Northeast. But he says he just doesn't believe the world should have any millionaires. If you don't have millionaires, you can't have private businesses that are able to open them and give jobs to everyone. It's the land of the free, the home of the brave, and, well, you're supposed to be able to make as much as you can. You shouldn't be penalized and it taken away just because you were successful. But I do believe this here fellow would like to take anything that you've got and give it to those who don't want to do, who don't want to work. It's not right, and let's hope this is handled. This is beyond discussing, and we'll go on with this. You've got to have a line. Even if it's your worst enemy, you've got to have a line of things you don't say. Am I not right? You got to have a little respect for anyone. I don't know this guy. He is a White Sox player, Major League Baseball player named Ketel Marte. They have barred a fellow, a heckler, from the crowd. Made the man cry. His mother died in 2017, and whatever was said, and they're not giving the exact line, made the man cry on the field about his mother's passing. You just don't mess with a man's mother. It's the hand that rocks the cradle that rules the world. We feel for him, and I don't know what the guy said, but it was uncalled for. Got to be a line. We'll be right back with your weather forecast in just a moment.
Hi, this is Nick at Doc's Toyota, and we are excited to put you in a new Toyota today. We have no dealer markup, no hidden fees, no hassle, and our inventory is always priced to move. Our top-notch sales department and first-class service after the sale guarantees you a fast and comfortable buying experience like you've never had. So come see why month after month, more and more customers have chose to buy from Doc's Toyota. So come see us here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia at docstoyota.com or on Facebook. And remember, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
For over 40 years, you've been able to count on Watt Equipment in DeKalb, Mississippi. They've got your Massey Ferguson's brand new 23 up to 135 horse cab and air tractors. They've got all your hay equipment needs, all your bush hogs. If your tractor needs it, they got it. Also remember, they service all makes and models, whether it's green, orange, blue, red, or yellow. They can get your parts in, they can do your service on your equipment. Don't forget Watt Equipment, DeKalb, Mississippi.
Bob, that's a pretty good line. No work, no perk. I have to agree with you on that. As we turn to Doc's Toyota radar this morning, as you can see, no rain in the area at this point. We do have a lot of heat out to our west there, from Natchez all the way up through Vicksburg, Greenville, all the way up through the Delta there, taking in portions of Tennessee and also Arkansas. We're still going to be hot over here. Heat index around 97 at least this afternoon. Over around Birmingham, Hoover, we've got some fog this morning, even a low-lying area around the Meridian area as well. As you get into LaGrange, Georgia, around Macon, we got a little bit there as well. And Chattanooga, it's off the chart. As we get into these areas from Cleveland, Dalton, Georgia, Franklin, Tennessee, all those have got major fog this morning all the way up through Asheville. If you're traveling there today, be careful. If you're at a roadside park, be careful before you head back. As we'll see here, this is what's happening down here as we have a storm coming into Mexico out of the Gulf of America there. It's Barry, a tropical depression there, moving along this morning at 35 miles an hour, wind gusts of 46 as it heads inland now. As you'll see there, a little bit of wind could possibly affect just west of San Antonio, but we're Monterey, those areas there, San Fernando. We've got a little bit of storms happening there this morning when it comes to that. Nothing in the Gulf of America that will affect our coast. We do have some showers developing there. We'll be right back with that. Let's get into our regular forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
Our record highs, record lows back in 31. It was 101 today. 1923, that's a long time ago as well. It was 55 degrees. No forecast update yet from Jackson, Mississippi, as that's blank today. As we go to Bama, 87 is what we've got planned for Demopolis, 88 in Tuscaloosa. We'll even see 88 in Birmingham. More range there west back to Mississippi. As you get east of Birmingham, it'll lighten up a little bit. Auburn should see 86 today is what we're expected there. Here's that heat index we just looked at, that western side of Mississippi having extreme heat up to 110 there through the Delta. We could see 105-ish around Jackson. And again, we'll have the upper 90s here in the Meridian area when it comes to a heat index. As we glance across this is the way it looks across the U.S. Warmer in Tennessee up through the Carolinas as we glance at that. Our 7-day forecast calls for a high today in the Meridian area to be anywhere from 88 to 90. It's going to be warm regardless there. 70 to 80% chance of showers. We should start seeing that move into our area a little bit after 1 o'clock. Should be rain through the evening hours till about 7-ish. As anything can change, but that's what we're putting on that at this point. By tomorrow, we're still got a heavy rainfall, 80% chance in the forecast. We'll see 92 on Wednesday, with those rain chances dropping all the way through Saturday. We'll stay high there. Look at Saturday, 96, 95 next Sunday. Forecast jumps up to a 30% chance next Sunday. As we roll along here, we'll see what's this, 92, mid-90s there, all the way through July the 14th. As we back up, I want to look at this. I didn't look at this exactly right. The 4th, 10% chance. Boy, it's going to be beautiful. We'll have a lot of shows going on. I know we'll have one at Bonita Lakes. Kemper Lake will have one. Usually one at Turkey Creek, and I think our Chusa area normally has a show. If you've got a July 4th celebration, let us know all about it there. Let's look at our fishing forecast this morning as we go out to Clarkdale Superette. Get those worms and all kinds of minnows. Major times to fish today is going to be this afternoon between 4:30 to 6:30 is what we're mainly looking at. A minor time this morning about 11:30 to 12:30 to fish. Sunrise happened at 5:51. We'll get that sunset. Look at this, 8:05 p.m. The wind's going to be calm, west, moving around about 5 miles an hour this morning. That's what we've got planned for that. And as we looked at this a moment ago, we do have these showers that we saw on radar right along here, moving into Florida. There's Old Barry as it's downgrading 35 mile an hour gusts. Let's go back to radar one more time and look at these showers that we're experiencing here. And this is it right here, what we're showing here with the National Hurricane Center. We've got a lot of showers there. Nothing developed as we look at this. Nothing to worry about anyway. A few showers there around Biloxi as well this morning. Odie's made it in. He's fired up. He's ready to go for Monday. He's back from the beach once again. You're going to end up like a raisin. I'm going to tell you, he spends way too much time in the sun. Car chases and a whole lot more. We're going to fill you in on all the details of What happened over the weekend? That's up next here. We'll get that started at 7 o'clock. Get your coffee, get ready. We'll see you soon as the Scotty Ray Report begins at 7.